Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going into another one of those Forgeworld models, which will be the Tesseract Ark from the Necron faction. So reverting back to that poll we did a few weeks ago, 82% of the voters wanted to see more Forgeworld units within the channel. So here we are again. Just a little heads up guys, I'm probably going to be taking a week off from YouTube just to get my head back in order, recharge the batteries. Been going over a year now with frequent content, so there will be a week hiatus from the channel. Rest assured we'll be back with more tactic videos and reviews. For the shout out today we're going to Jod3000 for his comment relating to the Space Wolves Know Your Foe video we did recently, so shout out to you. So we're diving into the Imperial Armor Compendium book. As it's a Forgeworld model, that's where the Forgeworld models will be for the Tesseract Ark. So the Tesseract Ark, 9 power level or 170 points, which is exactly the same as the Doomsday Ark's point cost, and it's directly competing with that because it's also one of the options within the heavy support. So onto the keywords of note, it's got the quantum shielding keyword, it's a vehicle and it can fly. As for the datasheet, it's got 12-inch movement, web skill 6+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 5, toughness 7, wounds 10, attacks 3, leadership 10 and a 3+ save. So the datasheet is degrading due to the fact that it's got 10 wounds or more. So the movement, the ballistic skill and the attacks will all decrease as the model takes damage. Now the attacks won't matter too much, it's not a melee unit, but the movement and ballistic skill will be quite important here. The strength is only strength 5, doesn't have any relevance whatsoever because it's not a melee unit as mentioned. So let's get on to the abilities. Living Metal, which is the Necron standard for regaining a lost wound at the start of the turn, and the command protocols if it's within 6 inches of a character to be using one of the directives in that particular battle round, providing you've got a noble on the table of course. It then explodes and it's not on a 6+, it's actually on a 4+, so units within 6 inches will suffer D3 mortal wounds, and it's got the hovering ability just for a rules clear up in terms of your measurements. Which the last two, which actually kind of overwrite each other in some aspects. It's got a 4+ invulnerable save due to the containment field, but it's also got a 5+ invulnerable save with the quantum shielding. And of course, you cannot wound this model on less than a 4+. So it's got the best of both worlds there. The Canoptic Doomstalker has that containment field, yet doesn't have the quantum shielding, whereas the Doomsday Ark has the quantum shielding without the containment field, but this unit has both. As for the Wargear, the Tesseract Ark is equipped with a Tesseract Singularity Chamber and 2 Tesla cannons. So the Tesseract Singularity Chamber comes in 3 different profiles. The first one is a 12-inch range, assault d6, strength 4, -3 AP and 1 damage. It auto hits and it will wound on a 2+ unless it's against a vehicle. So it's effectively like a heavy flamer, so you can advance with it, you can overwatch with it, not an issue. More useful against weaker targets because of only the 1 damage, but -3 AP is pretty reliable. The second profile is a Seismic Lash. It's 24-inch range, so you've doubled your range now. Assault d6, so again you can be advancing with this one. Strength 5, -3 AP and the damage is a flat 3. So this one's your elite infantry killer, especially Terminators, because you're going to be wounding those Terminators on 3s. The -3 AP will put them on their 5+ invulnerable save, unless of course they've got a storm shield, and that damage 3 will remove them off the board. Also pretty good against Plague Marines because they -1 to the damage with their disgustingly resilient, so it'll be wounding them on 4s. And then it will leave them with a 6+ armor save. The third profile is a Solar Flare, 36-inch range, heavy d6, so no advancing this time. Strength 8, -3 AP and the damage is d6. So all 3 of these profiles have got the unreliable amount of hits, but the strength 8 is pretty good. You're most likely wounding most things on a 3+. It's a shame it's not strength 10 like the other ones, but at least this one you don't have to remain stationary to get your best profile. The other issue is that damage being d6 as opposed to d3+3, but hey, we're Necrons, we always seem to get lumbered with that d6 damage. It then comes with the Tesla cannons. You get 2 in fact, it costs you 10 points for that. 30-inch range, heavy 3, strength 6, no AP 1 damage, and any 6s will score 2 additional hits. So a total of 6 shots with the 2. You're likely to be killing half a Space Marine model, or if you're going against something like a Guardian, toughness 3 model with a 5+ save, you will likely remove 3 of them. The unit does actually have options, so you can exchange the 2 Tesla cannons for either 2 Gauss cannons or 2 particle beamers. Now the Gauss cannons, a 24-inch range, heavy 3, strength 6, -3 AP and the damage is d3, and it's going to cost you 15 points. So again it's going to be 6 shots there. This one's likely to remove 2 Space Marines on average or 3 Guardians. The Particle Beamer, 18-inch range, assault 6, strength 5, no AP 1 damage. This one's a free upgrade. Again you're getting 2 of these, so that'd be 12 shots in total. This one's definitely more of a light infantry killer because you'll only kill 1 Space Marine on average, but you're likely to kill 3 or 4 Guardians. As for the stratagems that are available to this model, there's actually 4 in fact. The first one's Stellar Alignment Protocol for 1 command point. You can use your top profile in terms of your characteristics. So if you are bracketed, if your vehicle's taken damage, and you still want to be using your best ballistic skill and your best movement characteristic, you can do that for 1 command point. Curse of the Fair One to auto explode rather than roll through it. Now he does have a 4+ explode, so it is still a half a chance rather than 1 in 6 chance. But you've still got the option if you've been surrounded by enemy models. The third one you may not actually bother using. It's Disintegration Capacitors for 1 command point. Used on your Gorse weapons, any unmodified hit rolls of a 6 will automatically wound. Now you've got 6 shots with your Gorse cannons if you take those, so only 1 of those on average will be a 6, so it's probably not worth it there. Then the last one, Malevolent Arcing. If you're taking the Tesla cannons, after making the weapons attacks, you roll 1d6 for any unit within 6 inches of the enemy unit. On a 4+, that unit will suffer 1 mortal wound. So you're usually using Tesla weapons for factions that have got a low armor save anyway, so they're normally clumped up together. Tyranids are a really good example. They like to clump together, especially for their synapse. So moving into the Codex Synergy, looking at some dynasties that will work well with the units. You've got the Mefret dynasty to add 3 inches to the range of all your weaponry, as well as getting an extra -1 AP if you're firing within half range. And the last one I'd probably use is the Nihilak Code for the objective secured, which isn't bad on a model that's got 10 wounds. With the quantum shielding and the 4+ invulnerable save, it's going to be really tanky to shift off of an objective. As for some unit synergy, the Technomancer can take the Canoptic Cloak for 5 points, so that Cryptek can move 10 inches to keep up with this unit, and it can repair it D3 lost wounds every battle round. Then the same thing can be done with the Canoptic Spider with the Fabrication Claw Array for 5 points, used on a vehicle to heal D3 wounds. The only issue with the Canoptic Spider is not as quick, so it probably won't be keeping up with it, but if you're keeping this thing back, it could do the work. The last little bit of unit synergy is the Tryout Stalker with the targeting relay. Due to the amount of DACA that the Tesseract Ark actually has, being able to reroll hit rolls of a 1 could be really useful. So on to the summary, starting with the good. 10 moves with quantum shielding and the containment field makes it a very tanky unit. The weaponry works on all types of targets because it's got 3 profiles, strength 4, strength 5 and strength 8 profiles. And even in Overwatch you can auto hit with that flamer profile in particular. So just lots of range attacks overall, especially when you add the other weapon, whether it's the Tesla cannon, the Gorse cannon or the particle beamers. Now this model has a bit of an advantage over the other heavy support options because it can move and fire fully, unlike the Doomsday Ark and the Canoptic Doomstalker, because those things need to remain stationary to fire at its high profile. Whereas this one can actually advance and still fire a lot of its weaponry. So speaking of movement, it's got a good movement of 12 inches and fly, so you can constantly keep yourself out of melee range from enemy units. It's not got the blast ability, which I think is a hindrance at the moment, because you can't fire it into combat, whereas this unit can fire all of its weapons into combat. Whether it's the prime target or not, you're still firing something at least. And with the weapons being able to target any type of target, whether it's a light infantry, an elite infantry or even a vehicle, it's still going to do some damage. Then finally it explodes on a 4+ rather than a 6+. If you are surrounded by enemy units, let this thing go kaboom and throw some mortal wounds out. As for the bad, Forgeworld units are not always accepted, whether it's in a tournament. Some tournaments don't allow for it and some gaming clubs don't allow for it for some reason. It's not got the core keyword, so it's quite difficult to buff the model. Apart from the Technomancer and the Canoptic Spider, there's not much else that would buff the unit. Even though I said this in the good section, 10 wounds can be good, but it's quite pricey for 170 points. Usually you find that for every 10 points you get a wound. Examples being the Canoptic Spider, 60 points for 6 wounds, but this is 170 just for 10. Now of course they've taken into consideration the invuln saves and the quantum shield in there, but you can't help but wonder why this has only got 10 wounds. It's got no melee capabilities either, so you definitely need to be keeping out of range. If you do get caught in melee, you're going to have to rely on the command protocols to get yourself to fall back out of combat to still fire, because a Royal Warden isn't going to work on this unit. It's also got a strength 8 weapon rather than a strength 10 like the other heavy support options. Even though it is able to move and shoot, it is only strength 8 after all. And then finally, the main gun is unreliable. It's got D6 attacks. Doesn't really matter what profile you choose. All 3 of them have D6 attacks, which can sometimes let you down. So on to the rating today. I quite like the unit in fact, so I'm giving the Tesseract Ark a Planet 40k rating of 3.5 stars. Definitely good competition for our heavy support options if you're taking a Forgeworld model. Just the fact that it's not got the blast keyword I think is a massive bonus, because that's where we're struggling at the moment with those 2 heavy support units in particular. As soon as they get caught in combat, they're finished. So guys, that's the review today. Do you agree with the star rating? Let me know what you'd rate this model down below in the comments. We're going to be continuing on with some more Forgeworld units within the Necron faction, as well as carrying on with our Know Your Foe series, which the next one should be the Sisters of Battle. So guys, like the video on your exits. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.